your name and your company name in the chat. It just helps us with our record keeping, and we'll get the slides to you after the event. We're going to be recording this event, and we will be posting it on our YouTube channel, most likely by tomorrow sometime. So you can always find it there, and I'll try to send the link when we send the slides so you know how to get there. Our Montana Apex Accelerator, formerly called PTAC, some of us have been known each other for a while. We provide personal, timely advice with contracting with the government, and we are here today to talk a little bit about the Mentor Protégé program of the SBA. I'll tell a little bit about our Montana Apex. We provide no-cost advisory and assistance services, everything from teaching you how to do the market research and how to market your product to the government customer. We have all different kinds of training topics and webinars that you can attend. We hold networking events and help host industry days with the agencies. We help with hands-on technical assistance like getting registered in SAM, helping you prepare for any small business certification process. And also we provide a wealth of knowledge when it comes to putting your bids and quotes together so you can be successful at government contracting. We're experts at the rules, and we hope to have an opportunity to share that with you through all the different counseling sessions and with all our different great Apex counselors around the state. If you visit our website, you will find a map like this under the Locations tab. And if you're not here, if you don't already work with an Apex counselor, that you can find whom to work with by checking this map by the county. So we have 6 centers across the state, and we're here to help. So we're going to start out by talking about the SBA Mentor Protégé program history. So this program's been around for a long time. Originally, it was the 8A Mentor Protégé program, and then it turned into the All Small Business Mentor Protégé program, and now this is just merged into one SBA Mentor Protégé program. So it's a little bit simpler to find your way and know how to go about working through and understanding how this program can help your business. The main purpose is to help small businesses gain capacity, knowledge, and increase their government contracting impact. And that's by mentoring with experienced government contractors, which are called mentors. It's kind of like when you were in college and maybe you worked with a team of people that helped you learn how to get ready to apply for your first job or something like that. You can think of it as just really a great way to have a relationship and build your capacity and knowledge. The details about this program are linked at the bottom of this slide. It's the Title 13 of the Code of Federal Regulations, or the CFR, and that is in the chapter 125.9. And when you get this slideshow, it'll be a PDF and you'll be able to access the different links in here. This program is designed, as I mentioned, to enhance the capabilities of the protege firm. And the mentor is there to help provide that business development assistance. The type of assistance can cover several different areas, and this is meant only for federal contracts, right? So federal contracting. So the support you can get from a mentor is management and technical assistance. So understanding better ways to manage your progress on your job, accounting for your job, maybe doing some strategic planning and understanding some new things that can help you market your product or service. The financial assistance includes, it could be the form of an equity investment by the mentor into the business. Or it could be help with on a large construction project, providing some basis for bonding and things like that. And of course, since this is a federal contracting program, you get contracting assistance, helping you navigate and learn the bidding process, what are some of the rules, how's the best way to market, and how that you and the mentor can work together. If your company exports products or wants to export products, you can find a mentor that does international trade, and you can learn more about that exporting process. Business development is really one of the most key aspects of this program. It's up to the mentor to provide you with help in identifying maybe some new markets or the strategy of building your contracting opportunities through this partnership. And then administrative assistance, sometimes there's some human resource sharing. Sometimes there can be help in getting security clearances for certain types of federal contracts if needed. I think that these are all really great areas where small business can benefit. And we're going to talk next about the different methods that you can employ when getting involved with this mentor protege program. So a teaming agreement is when two or more companies partner for one specific contract. And that's one idea. We're going to talk more in detail about these further along in the presentation. Another method is creating a joint venture that qualifies as a small business. The next would be a common one that many businesses may know something about, which is basic subcontracting on the contracts for the mentor. And of course, kind of overlapping all the different methods, the protege is going to receive some of those other technical guidance from the mentor for business development and marketing. We'll first talk about teaming agreements. Now, the teaming agreement is when two or more companies actually can be part of a teaming agreement. But in this case, we're going to just think about it as the mentor and the protege. They would partner for a specific contract. And sometimes they call teaming agreements chasing the contract. So maybe you know that there's going to be a large project coming up that's for the Forest Service, and you want to, but your company, you're the protege company, and you and the mentor get together, you create a teaming agreement to establish a really great prime subcontractor relationship. And then you go after the specific opportunities and work to win that contract together as a team. Thus the name teaming agreement. So agencies can also use these teaming agreements to evaluate like the prime subcontractor relationship. So it can be a benefit in that way. Like if you have a strong agreement with your mentor, who's the prime contractor, it can help get more value to your offer when you're going after these agreements. The other thing that is great about the teaming agreement is they can protect the individual company's rights. They'll be very specific about the performance and the compliance and rules to avoid any disputes. And they'll always list like who does what the responsibilities are, what the subcontractor's scope of work is. And also it would also be kind of considered the subcontract agreement between the two parties. The next one is called the joint venture. And although that kind of sounds like it's seeming the same thing as a teaming agreement, a joint venture is quite different. A mentor and protege can joint venture as a small business for any small business contract. The joint venture may also pursue specific socioeconomic set-aside contracts for which the protege qualifies. So in essence, a joint venture is creating a new business with your mentor. And then if, you know, but the protege, of course, in all cases in this mentor protege program, the protege has to be considered small. But let's say the protege is a service disabled veteran-owned business and they're certified as such through the SBA's small business program. Then the mentor and the protege can pursue small business opportunities that are in these specific set-aside areas. Again, there is additional information at the SBA's website. And there's a link here that talks more in detail about joint venture. We're going to talk, I think I have one more slide about that, or two maybe. Joint venturing is a very popular way to do this for the, if you're seeking out contracts that fall under those socioeconomic categories that you qualify for. And if you and your mentor decide to form a joint venture to bid on the contracts, there are 3 points you should really understand. Joint ventures are separate entities. They must be registered in SAM as such. They have to have their own unique entity ID and cage number. And SAM stands for the System for Award Management. SAM.gov is a prerequisite to be eligible for any federal contracts. And I think most people on this call probably know that already or been through the SAM registration. The entity type in SAM would be identified as a joint venture. It's not, you're not going to check the box for LLC or corporation. There'll be a box for a joint venture, okay? And then all joint venture agreements must be in writing, and the protege must meet this program-specific requirements for the particular set-aside. So that means if you're going to form with a prime contractor, woman-owned small business joint venture, the woman-owned small business must be certified through the SBA's program. Oops, let me hit the right button. Okay, and the overarching impact of or benefit of this program is the business development piece. Again, we've talked a little bit about this already, but it includes help from that mentor to help do strategic planning for your small business, identify other partnership opportunities that might help you increase your government contracts. It can also provide basic business assistance like accounting and human resource management and other types of education and marketing techniques that the small protege firm can learn from the mentor. So the qualifications, who could be a mentor? So the way they state it is any company that demonstrates a commitment and the ability to assist a small business may act as a mentor. So this includes both small businesses and other than small businesses, which means large businesses, like, for example, the Boeing company. So you could have a mentorship with a large prime where the mentor is the large prime. And the mentor does have to have the capabilities and demonstrate that they know about the government contracting and they can actually help the protege. The protege's qualifications include they have to be small based on their primary NAICS code. And as many of you know, the size standards are set by the SBA. You validate those size standards when you register in the System for Award Management, and you will have a primary NAICS code. A small business may also have a secondary NAICS code, and we'll talk a little bit about that and how sometimes businesses want to develop a new or like a new product line that's different than their primary NAICS code. So sometimes proteges go into this mentor protege program in order to achieve more experience on a secondary line of business for their company. And an example might be, let's say your company is an environmental engineering firm, but you want to learn more about environmental testing or environmental remediation, which are different NAICS codes than just plain old environmental engineering. Not that either is worse or better, but it might be an opportunity for you to learn from someone that is a specialist in the environmental testing or in environmental remediation, so that you can grow your business in those areas. That would be an example of wanting to be in this program by using secondary NAICS code for the protege. Are there any questions so far, Lynette?
No questions.
Okay, great.
Nope.
I'm going to keep going. Did you have a question, Dennis?
Nope.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. I can see you on this screen. I only see a handful of people at a time. So.
All right. Sure.
All right. So next, we're going to talk about the eligibility of the protege. You must be organized for profit, or you must be an agricultural cooperative, and you must have industry experience. So it's important, you might be somewhat new to government contracting, but you do have to understand your own industry and the product and service that you sell. You have to be small for the NAICS code, and that must be based on the SBA size standards, as we talked about. And there has to be no determination of affiliation, and that means an affiliation with the mentor business. And just to give you an example, so you might partner with these other businesses, but like the primary person that's in charge of maybe the small business joint venture, for example, cannot be employed by the mentor firm. And so that would be a clear definition of an affiliation problem, which the SBA has, there's very many rules around affiliation, too probably a big of a topic to cover right today, but that's what that means. You can't be affiliated previously before with the mentor. And then the other one is, the next one has to do with equity investment. The protege may want to allow the mentor firm to own part of the business or receive an equity interest, but the limit on that is no more than 40% of equity from the mentor. So they kind of infuse maybe some financial assistance, things like that, into the protege firm. The other main point to point out here is that the protege has to have done the research and found the mentor before applying for the program. This is not a matchmaking event put on by the SBA. It's important to note that it is that you have to have that mentor lined up, And the SBA does not provide you with assistance with those steps. The mentor eligibility includes being organized for profit or an agricultural cooperative. The mentor must possess good character, which it means it cannot appear on any federal list of debarred or suspended contractors. So they have to have had a positive history in working with or interacting with the federal government. They can be a small or large business based on their NAICS code. And again, there can't be any determination of affiliation between the mentor or protege. The other key qualification or eligibility requirement for the mentor is they have to know about government contracting, be able to impart their knowledge to the protege, and provide the time and energy that it takes to provide this kind of contracting assistance. So there's a few other rules. I mean, if you went to the CFR, you would see there's maybe more than we've covered here, but there are a few different limits to this program. No more than 2 mentors in a lifetime. So a protege can only have up to 2 mentors throughout the whole course of their business. And no more than 3, a mentor can only have no more than 3 proteges at one time. And the mentor must be identified before applying. SBA likes to say this loud and clear. They're not a matchmaking program. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about this, you know, and how you might go about identifying that mentor. And then when you go to the CFR, you'll see a lot more information about each of the different methods, like what, you know, joint ventures, and all the rules will be listed there. But you can also contact your Montana Apex counselor, and that's how we can help you. We can help you understand what are the rules, what are the steps, how to get started. And that's important to know. That's why we provide these trainings, is so that you can think about, like, gosh, what's the next best thing for my company to do when it comes to government contracting? You can think of us as experts in understanding the rules of government and also how to proceed in all different types of government processes. So the application process. First, select the mentor. Make sure everybody's registered in SAM. And then you apply through the certified.sba.gov site. On that site, there's also some good knowledge base articles and frequently asked questions. You can search there. It does take about 105 days, according to the website, to finalize. And when they are verifying all your information during any application process with the SBA, they may send you emails to verify or ask for clarification. And so it's always important to, once you submit hit that send button to submit anything, it's always good to monitor your emails in case that something pops up and they need more information to help process your application. Again, this is kind of a little bit longer checklist. This talks a little bit about the documents and things that you would do before you start to apply. When you're applying for the mentor protege program, you have to determine which NAICS code you're going to use. Is it your primary NAICS code as a protege, or a secondary NAICS code where you're trying to develop a new line of business? Both the businesses that are going to participate in this mentor protege agreement must complete a test. Well, I shouldn't call it a test. They call it a tutorial online. Everyone gets scared of taking tests. I know I do. But it's going to be a tutorial that you'll go through and complete online, and then you'll receive a certificate that you completed it, and that has to be included with your application process. You will have to have a signed mentor protege agreement before you apply. So these agreements, once they're approved by the SBA, they can last up to 6 years from the date of approval. And then if the initial agreement is for less than 6 years, so let's say the mentor protege agreement that you and your new mentor decided on is only a 3-year agreement, you can renew it and it can be extended by mutual agreement, and as long as you notify SBA prior to the expiration. Okay. So this is just a quick list of some things I've already stated out. You know, you have to have a training module done. Now they're calling it's a tutorial and the completed certificate, the completed agreement. And then some companies may have SBA size redetermination letter. Those aren't too common, but Apex can explain what those are if that applies to your business. It most likely won't apply to most businesses. And then you also have to provide proof that you're able to learn more by that secondary NAICS code. So if you want to open up a new line of business and you want to get in this program for help in developing that new line of business, you have to show that you have done at least some contracts or something in that area. It has to be somewhat similar, discipline for your company. Then, as you're going through the years of having this agreement, you do have, there's regular maintenance cycle, annual reports. You have to provide information of how you've been benefiting from the Mentor Protege program. And you have to file year-end reports and certificate of compliance. So that's just kind of confirming to the SBA that you're following with the program. And then the mentor's requirement is that they have to provide meaningful assistance. And it should follow the letter of the actual agreement that the two parties work on together. Okay. I like to just mention this briefly. We're not going to go into any of these, but if your area or industry works primarily with one of these other agencies, like maybe you only do work for the FAA, you might want to check into their mentor protege program, because it's not going to be the same as the SBA's, but each of these agencies do have a unique mentor protege program as part of their small business office. So that's the end of our presentation for today. I'll just open it up to questions, and I think I will stop sharing at this point. Are there any questions in the chat?
There weren't any, Patty.
Okay, but you don't have to be shy. If you have questions, we're here to answer. And if you think of questions later, you can contact us as well. But I just want to make sure that if you do have some questions, that I'm here to help. So you can either raise your hand or
So
wave
there
at
is
me.
one now in the chat, Patty. It said, has anyone approached you wanting to be a mentor?
No, I haven't talked to any mentors, but I think that some of the large prime contractors, they may have, you could find out maybe from them through their small business liaison office. Large primes such as Northrop Grumman or the Boeing company, or similar large companies that might do a lot of government contracts. If you want to research the projects that they work on for the federal agency, and if something you do could fit into that as a subcontract, then you could sign up through those large primes to be a supplier or diversified supplier if you meet some of the economic socioeconomic categories. And so they may be some potential sources. Even larger businesses. So let's say you're a small construction firm in Montana, but you might want to connect with some larger construction firms to perform jobs in Montana. And that would be how you would go about becoming a mentor. And I guess I have to correct myself, because several years ago, I did have a company that was a construction company that was graduating from the 8A program, and they were looking to do maybe some mentor work. And but that was one time, and I think that is another potential source of where you might find companies. The 8A program is for minority owned businesses, primarily those who can demonstrate socioeconomic disadvantage. And so when that program is only 9 years long, and so when businesses start to graduate from that, they sometimes would like to bring on some mentors, some proteges, or a protege, to help them kind of maybe continue to teach someone else how to move forward and get a business development program help and stuff that's offered through that 8A program.
Okay, so, Thomas, go ahead, and then we'll answer another question in the chat.
I know that you probably already went through this, but is there is there like a place where you can search, or like a list of the different mentors in the different groups, like in the different industries? It's like, if I wanted to search through and say, okay, well, I'm looking for this type of contract, and am I able to like search through and find those specific mentors in my area?
Well, there is the SBA website where Prime, what's that called? The subnet. They sometimes prime contractors list subcontracting opportunities there. I thought that there was a list at the SB, I thought there was a list somewhere that you could go to, but I'm not exactly sure where I saw that when I was doing more reading on this topic, but I can look for that and get back to you.
I guess my biggest question is, where do you find the mentor? Like, I get the whole like concept of the mentor and them helping you, but and again, it's gonna all be about, we're all trying to grow our businesses. I'm just kind of wondering, and it seems like a great program, just wondering where or how you find
So
these elusive mentors.
go ahead,
Thomas,
Lynette.
I would chime in that also. I think it also starts with personal experience, if you're entering in the government contracting on subcontracting level, who is your work targeted with? If you're working with these large primes, that maybe through your experience, you're gonna be like, oh, this would be some company that I would down the road want to keep working with, and they could be my mentor. Then you can go the route and start searching for the right mentor. It's not like one size fits all, because even these big, large primes won't pick everyone, right? They will want to see how you click with them, what you can offer to them, if they can help you grow. So it's like it goes both ways. So I would start with where I am fitting in the market, what I'm subcontracting, who is my bigger partner. So like I have companies here in Billings that they would work with, for example, like Dick Anderson would be a prime and they're smaller underneath of them. And then over the years, they would probably seek like, oh, we see that Dick Anderson is getting bigger contracts and would be a great mentor for me. Would it be a relationship that I could create the mentor protege relationship a little bit more closer and tighter? So that's kind of how I see it. We don't see this very often in Montana, this partnership, but I don't know if that's gonna help you, but it's.
Sure. So I think
Go
what
ahead.
you're saying is, what I want to do is kind of identify the different companies that might be like in my industry, and then just reach out to them and find out if they happen to work with Apex, or if they happen to work with the SBA, And then in that case, when we develop a relationship on our own like that, as being,
Well, I think you need to start developing relationship already on the contractual base. So let's say, you know, there's a project that you work with them and see if they can fit in the role of helping you out building your company up. So, you know, I mean, it's a very difficult, because I think it's not for everyone. This is a very unique model that SBA is putting out. So I would say yes, like to what you mentioned, just starting kind of gathering who you work with, who are the bigger partners, how you can fit. And maybe Patty has better input on that, but that's how I see it when I have companies that are willing or kind of trying to go this route. It's not an overnight situation. You have to be very careful who you partner, because it's a tight relationship. There's a lot of guidance to this and obligations for both of them. So it has to work for both of them, not just for you, to be clear.
sure, I understand
I
that.
don't know if that helped or not.
And I'm not sure. I mean, we can definitely find out if there is that big list out there in the sky. However, to piggyback on what Teresa's saying, it's very relational, and it's you know, building your contractual experience and then finding, like she was saying, based on a relationship that you've had with working with someone under a contract, then you start discussing and things kind of start coming to light how you can build upon it. And then, you know, if it would benefit both of you, then you could enter into a mentor protege agreement. But it's also doing like your own market research. I mean, we talk about that constantly. You got to find your niche. You got to find other, you know, what opportunities and where you're at in that spectrum, and then find who you want to potentially partner with, and then start down that road. So it's going to be different for every business out there. And like Teresa has said too, it's not going to be, this isn't designed for every single small business out there, but it is an opportunity and a tool that you can use if it's a good fit for you and you know, a bigger prime.
All right, so I guess I'm just going to ask one final question, then I'll let you move on. So if there are larger primes out there and I'm doing my market research and I'm trying to find them, they would have, to be the mentor, they would have already needed to be a bigger company that's worked in the contracts with the government. And then I would be able to partner up with them and they can help me kind of start this whole process and being able to mentor me, right?
Mhm.
I'd be there and go forward. And I guess, so here's one example, and then I'll let you go. So I was, someone reached out to me from Malmstrom Air Force Base to do a painting job, but it's a pretty large painting job. It's not something that I don't think I would be able to handle, but I may not have the equipment to be able to like to do it the way I would want to do it. Is that a situation where I could reach out to larger, you know, commercial painting companies around the state or the city or the county and say, hey, you know, I have this opportunity to bid this job. Would you like to partner with me, or can we discuss mentoring or something like that? Like, I guess how do I know if they've worked in government contracting, I guess is the question. If I'm doing my own market research, unless I've actually worked with them through a government contract, knowing that they've done that, I guess. That's where my confusion comes, is how do I find this big company, I guess.
Go ahead, Patty. Go ahead, Patty.
I guess what I would say to that is, you know, the partner doesn't have to be a large prime like the Boeing company. I use that as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the SBA size standards are very generous. If it's a service business, it could be, you know, you could have 7.5 million in gross, you know, annual sales and still be considered a small business in you know, in the SBA size standard metrics. So what I think is that for our Montana businesses, the practice might be to partner with another small business that maybe has more experience or maybe is slightly larger than you, have done more government contracts, or might have additional equipment. And where you can look, I put a couple links in the chat. There's the DSBS SBA website, stands for Dynamic Small Business Search. So all small businesses that are from across the whole country are listed in that database, and it is easy to search in there. It's a very flat filter, but you can search by someone, a NAICS code or a county even. So let's say you can search the whole state of Montana, but if you just want to find businesses in Missoula County that have the same NAICS code as you can search using those criteria. And it brings up a list, and these people are registered in SAM, but it's not a guarantee that those people have had contracts. So the next step I would do to figure that out is I would take the SAM UEI and I would search for these potential partners in the USA Spending website to find out if they've won awards and what kind of awards and what type of agencies are they selling to. Does it cross match with what you do? So when you think about these ideas too, you can think of other natural ways that you might network with other businesses. And I think it's important to know that things that you participate in our community, or maybe you might meet someone through an industry get together at the Missoula Chamber, that, sometimes there's very organic way to meet other companies and increase your opportunity to learn like other people that do similar things as you. And I think that part is sometimes really hard for small businesses because they're doing all the roles. They're doing all the work, they're doing all the accounting, they're doing every job for that company. And so I think that kind of doing some organic, networking or marketing can also help you kind of learn who's in the same, does the same thing as you. And like using some searching tools and working with Apex can help you do the market research. That's, I gave a very quick example of how you could do it, but if you sat down with the Apex Accelerator, they might be able to help you. The other link I put into the chat is a blog from the SBA's website that says, contact, like if you're a woman-owned business, contact the Women Business Center in your area and see how you can network with other women-owned businesses, right? So and then maybe go to the SCORE office. We don't have one here in Western Montana, but there are, I think, one in somewhere in Helena. So anyway,
Thank you.
you can copy those links out if you want them.
I did. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right.
Thomas, it looks like that you're in construction painting. We have like a Billings Exchange, association here in Billings that is a great resource for networking on the level of any construction businesses. I know you have to, I think, pay a little fee, but it might be worth of beside searching at the DSPS, just to make sure that you don't need to form a mentor protege to find a company that you could subcontract or collaborate on a project for Maelstrom. So I just also wanted to kind of stress that out. You can be the one who bids on it, and then you can subcontract it to other company that maybe has the resources. That is an option as well. You don't have to be contractually creating a partnership. I think down the road, it might help you. Like, it's just, this is very formal. We don't see it very often in Montana, the mentor protege. Am I correct, ladies? Or, it's very unique. So there's also other ways, but definitely can benefit you. But I would start on the smaller scale to get your feet wet, and then see if this would be a possibility down the road.
Thank you.
I think there's a
Okay.
couple more questions,
Yeah.
right?
There is. Todd is asking, are active mentor-mentee agreements reflected on an entity's SAM registration?
No, unless you have a joint venture.
Yep. Okay, and then is there a limit to the NAICS codes that a protege can work under? For example, some types of heavy civil construction will have multiple NAICS codes represented in the contract work. Will the protege be limited to one code for bidding purposes?
I don't think they would be limited to one, or if it's a pretty close NAICS code, but in order to be qualifying in the program, you do have to be considered small in the NAICS code that you're in, that your primary one is in, and you want to be partnering with a mentor that has a similar NAICS code, right? And so you know, when you get up into this level of more targeted marketing and capturing of you know, contracts, you may find that the focus is to work on only, you know, kind of hone in on ones that are for a specific area that both you and the mentor would be capable of achieving, right? And so there's not gonna, you know, a lot of times you can bid on different, you know, you don't always have to have the NAICS code to bid on a contract in your SAM profile, but if you have to be considered small for a NAICS code, you do have to probably get that NAICS code added to your SAM profile. And also, I think that's all. Does that answer your question, Robin?
And I think good way around it is manufacturing codes, because they don't go by annual receipts and they go by, so you probably have more expansion if that would be the primary, right, Patty? So you can go pretty high on number of employees. Yep, it did answer.
That's a manufacturing code.
Yep.
If you're a manufacturer, yeah, you would use that. But if you're a service business, you would use the service code. So for engineering, you might use, you know, 541330, that measures people by employees.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, well, you know where to find us. MontanaApex.org. And ask your questions after. If there's anything you ever have a need for, you just reach out to us and we'll help you along the way, okay?
Thanks, Patty. Great job.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks,
Patty.
Bob.